Hello everyone, how are you all doing? So today we will start discussing about cloud computing. Our goal for this week is to learn and understand about cloud computing so that you won't have to say I am new to cloud anymore. So before we start, I want to understand the audience. So can you rate yourself out of 5 on your knowledge and experience and exposure to cloud? 5 means you're already an expert. 0 means you don't even know what the term cloud is. 1 means you have some knowledge what cloud is, what Azure is, but nothing more. And in between, you can fill in any of the other numbers if you feel like you are intermediate or something. Can you all type in chat? I have got a response from a few people. Second question: how many of you know me before coming to this session? Either seen my sessions before or read about me somewhere in Facebook or LinkedIn or someplace, or read any of my books. If you know about me, you can say K. If you are seeing me for first time, then you can say F. Okay, so there are quite a lot of people who are new. So I will definitely share about me in a few minutes. And you can always search about me in Google. You can just search Hartin Kanigatotu, my full name, in Google or in Amazon, or because my books are sold through Amazon. If you have a O'Reilly subscription, you can read my books from O'Reilly. And if you have a packed subscription, you can read it from there. So there are a lot of places where you can read my book from. So tell me a few things. So tell me a few things with respect to cloud before we get started. So I will list down 10 terms. You have to let me know how many of you of these terms you know well. Okay. So just note down using a pen and paper, or just you have 10 fingers, right? Just calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is fine even if you are saying 0, because then I will have to talk about all of these. So first one is high availability. Second one is scalability. Third one is elasticity. Fourth one is fault tolerance. Fifth one is disaster recovery. Sixth one is global reach. Seventh one is low latency. Eighth one is security and compliance. Ninth one is predictive cost. And 10th one is agility. How many of these 10 you know well? Okay, we have people telling 0. That is very good. 6, 8, 5, 6, 6, 4, 9, 7, 0 again, 8. Many people have mentioned many numbers in the range from 0 to 9. At least nobody has mentioned 10. So that means nobody knows everything. So coming back, how many of you think these are the benefits of cloud? You can just mention I. If you think that, okay, if you think that, so this can be achieved even without cloud, then you can say W. And if you feel like this can be achieved better with cloud, then you can say B. Okay, we will go through all these properties in detail in the later part of this cloud computing fundamental session. But I want to tell you one thing. So all these properties, or most of these properties, can be achieved even without cloud. But when you do it with cloud, what is the benefit? You can do it with much lesser cost than otherwise. For example, We will see all these examples in detail later. Imagine that Amazon or Flipkart or Walmart is conducting a sale. How many of you are from India? If you are from India, you'll be seeing a lot of ads related to Flipkart and Amazon sales this week, right? So imagine that we have a e-commerce portal such as Amazon or Flipkart. For almost all of the year, we'll be running with a regular sale, but once in a while, like the one which is happening now, or the big billion sale, or the Black Friday sale, there'll be lot of sale happening. There'll be huge spike. Imagine that for the rest of the days, you need 100 servers, and for this particular sale days, you need 500 servers. What will you do? For achieving scalability, elasticity, and all, you basically need those extra servers, right? But where will you get those extra servers? With on-premises, you can still go and buy those servers and come. But you cannot do it automatically when somebody is requesting. You have to buy it prior to your sale. And after the sale, it is very difficult to sell it. But with cloud, you can just provision it. You can just provision it only for that particular sale time. And then you can tell the cloud provider that, okay, I don't need that anymore. It is beautiful, right? So this scalability, elasticity, and all you can achieve even without cloud, but the cost will be more. And that is really important. Okay, so that said, we will get started with today's session. Okay, so this is the agenda for the Cloud Computing 101 or Cloud Computing Fundamentals session. So if anybody is wondering what is this 101, it is a term that is used in most of the universities for introductory courses or introductory sessions. And there are no prerequisites for those sessions. So those are the first sessions that you will be attending. So today's agenda, Road to Cloud, Intro to Computers and Data Centers, as promised. Even if you don't know anything about computers, I will try to start from there. Then getting started with actual cloud computing. Then the cloud deployment models. We'll talk about what are these public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and all those things. And a lot of cloud abstractions like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, serverless. A lot of things are there, right? And then the shared responsibility model in cloud and the benefits of cloud computing. The ones we discussed: high availability, scalability, elasticity, 10 points, right? And finally, we will have some questions to check your understanding of whatever you have learned in this session. So, shall we get started? One more yes, and we'll get started. And feel free to connect with me over LinkedIn. So, a quick note about me. I am Hatin Kanigatotu. I am an author, architect, and tech evangelist. I have written few books on cloud computing, and one of the books have won the award of best eighth cloud computing book of all time in the year 2020. And currently, I am writing the next edition of that book. Anybody who wants to be a part of that book, you can definitely let me know. And based on your contribution is nothing but just reading the book prior to its release and then suggesting if it can be improved or just asking doubts. I can be clear that, okay, this needs more explanation and I can update the book. And if you do that, you can get your name printed in the thank you section of the book. And the book is sold across countries by Amazon and Pact. Pact is the publisher. Pact is based out of UK. And most of the companies these days have O'Reilly subscriptions, and O'Reilly is also having this book available. So a lot of places where you can be recognized, your name can be recognized just by being a part of this book. Okay, so that's it. From an Azure side, I've taken Azure DevOps Engineer Expert certification, Azure Solutions Architect Expert certifications, among other certifications. I don't have space to list everything here. And I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. And you can read all about me from hartin.github.io. This GitHub based website or GitHub pages based website we created as part of another session called GitHub 101. If you want to learn about GitHub and how to create such things about GitHub pages, I am happy to take a session on that also. I started my career in a company called TCS. I have moved through many different companies in many different roles. And I became very close to cloud when I was working in a company called VMware. In my final role, I was the lead from India for the team that managed all of public cloud within VMware. And we used to manage lot of AWS accounts, lot of Azure accounts, lot of GCP accounts and all. So after that, I moved back to banking, again working on cloud only. With at VMware, I was working primarily with AWS cloud, but when I moved to banking, one of my roles was with a bank called Societe Generale. Societe Generale is a bank based out of France, and I was working the role of a principal architect. And then later, I moved to another bank called Morgan Stanley, which is an US-based bank, where I was working as a vice president. So just to let you know that I have some real world experience that I can definitely share it with you along with the sessions. So thought of the day, person who stops studying merely because he has finished school is forever hopelessly doomed to mediocrity, no matter what may be his calling. The way of success is a way of continuous pursuit of knowledge. It's a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich, written during the time of the Great Depression in US. But again, it is applicable even now, especially with all the layoffs you see around. This is very much important. So unless you stay ahead with proper knowledge, it is very difficult to fight against your competitors from the AI side. So road to cloud, computers and a data center. So these things I'm hoping everybody will be knowing. Just in case if somebody doesn't know, let me know. A computer is a machine that computes something. And a computer system is a computer with everything needed for its full operation. And modern computers comes with various models such as regular desktop computers, laptops, etc. So if anybody is this much new to computers, you can let me know, because I always expect people who are completely new to computers, because a lot of people from non-IT follow these courses to move to IT. And if anybody is there with that background, I go deeper. Otherwise, I just skip them. But this is important. 5 most important parts of a computer. We have learned these things whenever we started learning about computers, right? CPU or central processing unit, graphics processing unit or GPU, random access memory or RAM, and storage and motherboard. With cloud, how this is important, because motherboard, you cannot do much on cloud. It is purely physical. But when it comes to storage, RAM, CPU, GPU, etc., you will be put in a situation where you may have to take a call. If you are going with infrastructure as a service, you may have to take a call on how much CPU I need, or whether I need to go with a instance where GPU is there. So such questions you will have to answer. In cloud, most of these things are virtualized. What do you mean by virtualized? So virtualization means in a single physical machine, like your computer, whatever you are having in front of you, right? In a single physical machine, you can have multiple virtual machines. All these virtual machines will be having their own operating systems. Okay, all these virtual machines will be having their own operating system. So if you log into a virtual machine, you will feel like I have logged into a real machine. And whenever you are creating a virtual machine, you are not getting a whole machine to yourself. You are sharing that machine with some other people. And that is how cloud is able to provide you all these benefits at a much lesser cost. A brief history of computing. It all started with physical host machines, right? And these physical host machines let us call it as bare metal machines. And then came server virtualization. What is server virtualization? As I mentioned earlier, one host machine can have multiple virtual machines. And all of these virtual machines will be sharing all those CPU, memory, storage, etc. on that physical machine. So that was the second level of evolution, right? So we had only bare metal machines. Now we have server virtualization. Again, evolution continued. Then came containers. With server virtualization, one physical machine can have multiple virtual machines. Containers are still lightweight to virtual machines, which means you can even have multiple containers on a virtual machine. So they are lightweight than virtualization, and they come handy in many situations. One of the situation from a developer perspective. So whenever you consider containers, you have advantage from a developer perspective, and also from a infrastructure perspective, from a cloud provider's perspective also. So can you tell me any benefit from a developer perspective? So tell me one thing. Do you know about any container technologies? Docker. Docker is one of the most popular container technologies. Okay, and then, yeah, people are talking about Podman, Kubernetes. So we have a dedicated session for containers, and even experienced container people or experienced engineers who attended the containers 101 session said, okay, I was knowing about Docker, but I never knew about all of the other 9 to 10 container technologies that we discussed. How many of you have heard about Red Hat or Red Hat Linux? RHL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You can say R if you have heard about it. Okay, many of those providers have decided to stop support for a Docker and promote Podman or other things. We'll not go into those things now. Just to let you know that, okay, there are a lot of things happening around the containers. From a developer perspective, the advantage is that when I started my career long time back, there was no DevOps or agile teams and all. It was all waterfall model, and there used to be one development team, QA team, ops team, different teams. And whenever developers develop something and give to QA, they will test again, they will set up again, and they will test and say, okay, it is not working in my environment. Then the developer will say it is working in my environment. They will fight. And with a container, you can encapsulate all the environment into a unit so that you can move it from one system to another system without changing the environment. So now you cannot say that it is working on my environment, not working on your environment and all. And we have a whole session for containers. If you are interested, please do let me know in our group or chat. And containers, you definitely have to learn, because eventually, if you are going to learn any Azure or AWS or GCP certification, which is not the basic 900 or basic cloud practitioner, you will definitely have containers in it. For example, if you are going for Azure Administrator AZ 104, I think module 9 has containers. You have containers, you have Kubernetes, all those things are there. So you cannot become a cloud engineer these days without knowing about containers. And if you are interested, we can definitely discuss it in a different session. So coming back from a cloud perspective, we will shortly learn about some abstractions such as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, serverless. How many of you have heard about this thing called serverless? You can say yes if you have heard about it. You have to definitely learn all these things if you want to learn cloud. If you don't know, just note down these terms and ask me to teach you after this. May not be today, but I will definitely talk about it. Because I am very much close to the term serverless, because Serverless Programming Cookbook was my first internationally published book. Okay, so coming back, serverless means two things. One, you pay only for the time your services are being used. In general, when we learn about what is cloud computing, first thing that people say is you pay only for the time you are using your cloud services. Okay, we say pay as you go, or similar terms. Basically, what it means that if you are using a cloud service, as long as you have provisioned and using it, then you are paying for it. People will feel like, okay, wow, wonderful. I have to pay only for the time I am actually using it. Imagine that you are having a online shop, and imagine that your father, parents or grandparents, somebody has a physical store. You may have seen, right? They close the shop at night and go to sleep. Can we do the same for a online product or online website? Can Amazon or Flipkart or any website say that, okay, from 9 p.m. I am going to shut down everything, and tomorrow morning 6 a.m. I will start again? Will it be good for business? Yes or no? If you think yes, you can say why. Otherwise, you can say no. No, right? So that means basically, if you have created your website on a virtual machine, that virtual machine will have to run 24 bar 7. It is not like you can stop and go. So that means it will be running 24 bar 7. So you'll have to pay for 24 bar 7. The only advantage is you don't have to make any upfront payment. So if you are doing it on premises, your own computer, you will have to set up everything. You'll have to buy a computer. You'll have to do a lot of things that you don't have to do. And later, if you decide that, okay, this website is not profitable, I want to stop, then you can stop. That is also another benefit of cloud computing. But with serverless, you get one more additional benefit. By default, with cloud, purchase and setup cost is saved. But after that, you have to pay 24 bar 7 with infrastructure as a service. We will learn about all these things, right? But with serverless, you have to pay only if your customers are using your service. That is sweeter, right? So that means if you don't have customers, you don't have to pay. There are different technologies with different cloud providers for serverless. With Azure, you have Azure Functions. With AWS, you have AWS. Can anybody tell the serverless service in AWS? It is AWS Lambdas. Okay, every cloud will have one version of it. Here you have a service, and you are going to pay only for the time that service is actually invoked. With infrastructure service, you'll have to pay for the time that service is running. There is a difference, right? Running, it has to be always running. It has to be always provisioned because your customers will be coming. And for serverless, only when it is invoked, it will be paid. So in this world, is there anything that is really free? No. Everybody or every company does something and gets some benefit. So this serverless, you have some idea, right? But again, your cloud provider cannot run a virtual machine for the whole time and still not charge you. Okay. So if your customers are coming only once, your cloud provider cannot run this virtual machine all the time and then only charge you for that 1 minute, right? So how these serverless and all work? So whenever your customers are making requests for the first time, okay, initially no services will be running. So whenever your customers are making requests for the first time, what will happen? These services start running. And when these services start running, they start processing your customer request. But imagine that a customer is making a request and you are starting a virtual machine. By the time that virtual machine is started, virtual machine is like your laptop, right? By the time that laptop is started or virtual machine is started and all the apps are started, your customer will go to your competitor. So you cannot use a virtual machine for that purpose. You have to either use a innovative, lightweight virtual machine, or you have to use something like containers, which can be easily started. So that is one use case, one real world use case of containers with respect to a provider, cloud provider. And what is a data center? It's a building or a group of buildings with many computers and associated components such as telecommunications and storage systems. All these computers and all these connecting things and all those things sit in a big building called as a data center. So containers, you can watch the recording of Containers 101 session. Now we will get started with the real cloud computing. So any questions, doubts, suggestions, anything? So cloud computing, if you want a definition, Cloud computing is the on-demand and automated delivery of computer resources and other IT services over a network. So what does it mean? On demand. On demand means whenever we need something, we can create it, and it is also automated. So we saw those data centers, right? Before cloud computing also, we had data centers. And what is the difference? I had my website almost around 18 years back. And that time there was no cloud computing. Then how did I create this website? Creating is fine. You just need to know HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and all those things. And how did I host? So that time we used to buy hosting space, and we have to buy it, and then it will be for a year or something. And upgradation and all those things were very much difficult. But with cloud, when you say on demand, it is not only on demand, it is on demand and automated. No person is sitting behind, everything is automated. If you want to create a virtual machine, you can create it, and the scripts will create it for you. If you want to stop that virtual machine, you can do it without any human intervention. If you want to delete that virtual machine, you can do it. Everything is on demand. On your demand, things will happen automatically. So that is the first benefit of cloud, and that is how cloud is different from your data center. Later, we'll see what is the difference between on-premises and private cloud. Okay, and then what are you delivering over cloud? First is computer resources. We saw some resources like CPU, RAM, or memory, and then storage. All those things that we saw, right? That is why we saw those things and then came here. All those things are virtualized and given to you as a service, and also IT services. So these days, because basic virtualization is available for all, right? But you need more. You need more and more services. That is how all the cloud providers fight with each other. I have a service for AI. I have a service for ML. I have a service for data analytics. I have a service for this. I have a service for that. The more services you have, you stand in a better shape to compete with your competitor. And at the same time, you confuse your customers also. And Microsoft has this habit of renaming things very frequently. Even AWS has that habit once in a while. AWS had this service called SSO, single sign-on. And then they rebranded it as IAM, Identity Center. And then bracket, they will put, okay, previously SSO. Similarly, Azure had a service called Azure AD, Azure Active Directory. Can somebody tell me the new name for Azure Active Directory? So Microsoft had a lot of security products. Entra is the name for the complete package. So what is the name for Azure AD? Yes, it is Microsoft Entra ID. Okay, so there are a lot of things happening in cloud, right? So even if you know cloud, it is always better to attend these webinars once in a while. Okay, it is Entra ID. So there is a question, interesting, why are they always changing names? So there could be many reasons. They may have felt like, okay, we need to combine all these products into one single unit. Many of the products that these companies have will be acquired products. So earlier, only AWS was there, right? To compete with AWS, AWS has been there for a long time. So to grow in such a fast pace, you cannot develop everything on your own. You have to acquire products. So many products Azure acquired, and hence they were able to move faster. And some of the advantages that Azure has is also because of that acquisitions. So for cost management, Azure acquired a product that was already there, and that was already doing cost management for Azure, AWS, GCP, and all the clouds and all. After acquiring, it will take some time for name to change and integration and all, right? But then what is the advantage? So now Azure will say, okay, now you can manage your AWS expenses also from your Azure dashboard. So such advantages comes through these acquisitions. But when you acquire, you cannot immediately do a name changing. So later, when you feel like, okay, now I have lot of security products, so let me put all those things into a single bracket called Entra. That is just my assumption. You'll have to talk to somebody from Microsoft to understand the real reason. This is what I think. Okay. Anyway, will not be asked about it in interviews or even in certification exams. Okay. So cloud computing continued. In cloud computing, on demand means that you can get the computer resources and IT services whenever you need it through a programmatic and automatic approach. We already discussed that. Programmatic and automatic approach generally means using APIs. Can somebody tell me the full form of APIs? So whatever I am asking you is really needed for you if you really want to be a cloud expert or cloud engineer. So if you don't know, just write down. I cannot cover everything today, but if you ask, I will take a session on that. Application programming interface. And how many of you here have heard about this thing called REST APIs? It is not about taking REST. Okay, REST, REST APIs. If you have heard about it, just mention R or me or something. If you have not heard about it, just mention N. So to work better with cloud these days, you need to understand REST APIs. We will have, similar to containers, we will have a dedicated session for REST APIs if and only if you ask. We will talk about REST APIs and then the Richardson's maturity model, which is about REST APIs. And also REST APIs is based on HTTP, HTTP verbs, and HTTP response codes. All those things are essential for your IT journey, not just cloud journey, any IT journey, any full stack engineer or any administrator or any DevOps engineer needs to know. So we will definitely have it. If you are part of the WhatsApp study group, just mention it there. If you are part of Azure Cloud chat group, just mention it there. Wherever you are, please mention it. Okay, there is a question. Do we have a WhatsApp group? How to know about events? I can share the details about WhatsApp group towards the end, or you can just note down this number. So somebody from +91 90944 03333, you can contact that number and then admin will help you with more details. Okay, so just let us get back to our studies. Okay, coming back, you need to understand APIs. So everything is through APIs, right? So when you learn cloud, you will learn that you provision everything through APIs. Even if you do from command line or from your Azure Cloud portal, everything ultimately works through these APIs. So there are three cloud deployment models: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Don't share your numbers here. You can WhatsApp to that number. So contact there and they will contact you back. Don't leave numbers here because it is not safe leaving numbers in open. Okay, so let us get back to our studies. Okay, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. First question. What will you do in below situation? As I mentioned, I don't want to go through definitions after definitions. I want you to think. I want you to get involved. What will you do in below situations? You are new to a city as a fresher and you need a house to stay. You don't know if your job location will change or not. Will you buy a house or rent a house? If you will buy a house, you can say B. If you will rent a house, you can say R. Okay, R, right? All of you said R. And that is nothing but public cloud. Renting a house. This is like a public cloud where you can rent computing resources and IT services with a little or less upfront investment and has primarily only the monthly or yearly payments. Here, the upfront investment is generally called as capital expenditure or CapEx, and the monthly or yearly expenses are generally called as operational expenditure or OpEx. If you are not clear about any term and want me to explain it again, please feel free to let me know by raising your hand like this, and I will answer. Okay, what is public cloud? Okay, a public cloud, a user uses resources from a cloud provider's data center. And it supports pay-as-you-go pricing model. There are different levels of pay-as-you-go pricing model, as we will see later. It replaces upfront capital expenditure with operational expenditure. Capital expenditure means, so tell me one thing. You need to set up a data center and you need to set up electricity for that data center and you need to pay monthly electricity bills. So setting up electricity, buying wires and all. Does it come under capital expenditure or operational expenditure? If you feel like it is a capital, you can say C. If you feel like it is operational, you can say O. Okay, setting up, buying wires, you don't have to buy wires and set up every month, right? It is one time. That comes under capital expenditure. And paying electricity bills, that is monthly. That is operational expenditure. Okay, clear? And then you don't have to worry about the hardware maintenance or hardware security, anything. Because in a physical data center, you need to have security. Otherwise, somebody will just come and take the servers and go, right? So you need to have a physical security. You'll have a regular maintenance. Lot of hardware and physical things are there. With public cloud, you don't have to worry about any of those things. And also, you can benefit from the experience and purchasing power of a public cloud provider. How many of you understood that last sentence? Can benefit from the experience and purchasing power of a public cloud provider? If you understood, you can say U. If you did not understand, you can say N. Simple example. If you are going to a shop and buying a computer, imagine that you get it for $100. And you are going and buying 10 computers. You may get it for $90 with a little bit of discount. Imagine that you buy hundreds and thousands of computers. Then you'll get it for, say, $50. But as an individual, can you go and buy hundreds and thousands of computers? No, right? But a cloud provider can do. So cloud provider can get it for, say, 50. And even if he is renting it out for you for an effective $75 rate, you are still benefiting, right? So that purchasing power of a cloud provider, especially public cloud providers such as Microsoft, Azure, or Amazon, AWS, or Google GCP, all are very powerful. So popular public cloud providers, AWS, Azure, GCP, IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, Alibaba Cloud. So next question. What will you do in the below situation? You are staying in a big mansion with extended family. Lot of family members are there. Due to lack of time, you are finding it difficult to maintain the mansion efficiently, do the utility payments on time, and even do proper resource allocation among family members and relatives. What will you do in the below situation? Imagine for a second that you are so rich, you have a big mansion, you are staying with a lot of family members. What will you do? Okay, we'll keep one person to take care. We'll hire someone to manage things. Good. That is the most appropriate answer, right? We'll hire somebody or some company or some team to manage these things. Okay. The most logical answer, contract somebody like a manager to manage everything, like coordinating with the staff, making payments, even do proper resource allocation among the people staying in that mansion. Here, the mansion could be your own or even leased. Okay. The mansion, the important thing to understand here is that the mansion could be yours or it could be leased. So this is like a private cloud. So private cloud is not just on premises. On premises means your mansion, you manage it. Okay. But private cloud means it will be either your mansion or you leased it from somebody, but you are in charge of it. But you will be letting somebody else manage it. With the private cloud, it will be a software that will be managing. This is like so this mansion example is like a private cloud where we use specialized software to manage our on-site data center or even a third-party data center that is dedicated to our organization. With an on-site data center, there is more capital expenditure compared to the public cloud where there is little or less capital expenditure. Okay, got it? Clear? So many people get confused between private cloud and on-premises. Okay, we'll have one more slide for private cloud and on-premises, then things will be a little more clear. So what is private cloud? It is a cloud that is used by a single entity or a single business. Okay, brings technology of public cloud to on-premises, can be hosted from our on-site data center or a third-party data center dedicated to us. Most people think only about our own data center when you say private cloud. Okay, and it uses a software stack such as Azure Stack, AWS Outpost, VMware, SDDC solutions, etc. And comes with greater cost compared to public cloud, definitely, because we have to either buy the data center or lease it. And private cloud may be confusing to understand as different vendors may define it differently. So there is a little bit of a gray area there. Again, you have to understand what it is, but you don't have to understand a lot about it for your exams, because exams is mostly around your public cloud. Question, are private cloud same as traditional data centers? Yes or no? So now you should be able to answer it correctly, right? Is it same? No, right? So private clouds are not same as traditional data centers, as we discussed earlier. Private clouds add features of cloud, such as on-demand and automated provisioning, whatever we discussed, right? All those on-demand, automated provisioning and all those things, it will add to the on-premise data centers through software. So imagine that, what is the real world situation? I have a very big company. So imagine that the Trainso is a very big company. Yeah, that is my goal in future. So that is why I resigned to work at Trainso, because I believe one day, not now, not tomorrow, not day after tomorrow, one day Trainso will become big. So imagine that Trainso is very big and have a very, very dedicated data center. And we are using a private cloud software. And different divisions of Trainso, maybe AWS cloud division, or maybe different product divisions, maybe our membership management software, maybe our training software, maybe some other software. They are different software, different projects. So they'll have different product teams. All of these product teams will be Trainso's customers. For example, now Trainso is a regular IT company. It is also a Microsoft partner. You may have heard the name of Trainso, right? Trainso Training Solutions. How many of you thought that Trainso is a training company based on that name? Tell me frankly. The parent company of Cloudrix is Trainso, and Trainso's full name is Trainso Training Solutions. When you hear that term, how many of you thought that Trainso is a training company? Just say I, or at least now, do you think Trainso is a training company? Okay, so Trainso Training Solutions was not registered as a training company. Okay, Trainso Training Solutions was registered as a company to develop software for training and also provide consulting for software for training. So it is a regular IT company and a consulting company for developing training solutions, not for training. And it's a training division for IT and cloud is cloudrix.com. So Trainso is a Microsoft partner. So when you say normally when training companies becomes Microsoft partner, it is a training partner. And Trainso is not a training partner. It is a regular Microsoft partner where you can purchase Microsoft products through Trainso, such as Azure Cloud or business email and Teams and all those things. And Cloudrix is kind of a child to Trainso. Imagine that Cloudrix is one of the teams. So Cloudrix will be a customer of this company's data center. And the Cloudrix team should be automatically be able to provision resources. And by the end of the month, your manager will say, okay, this department has this much cost, this department has this much cost, and all those things, right? All those things should happen in private cloud also for bigger companies. So all those things happens through software. So whatever you do in public cloud, you get the same benefit in private cloud or same benefit in on-premises. Then only you can call it as private cloud. Otherwise, it is not a private cloud. It is just on-premises with the standard software. So is SDDC same as private cloud? So SDDC stands for, so this is anyway not needed for the exam, just some terms for people who said you already know everything. At least I thought I'll give some terms so that they will be also happy that they have learned something new. Okay, SDDC stands for Software Defined Data Center, and it's not same as public, private, or hybrid cloud. But we can use SDT solutions to run private, public, and even hybrid clouds. SDDC is a virtual data center concept where the components of the infrastructure, such as networking, storage, compute, security, etc., are virtualized and automated so that they can all be delivered as a service. SDDC solutions abstract deployment, operation, provisioning, and configuration from hardware so that we are not tied to the underlying hardware technology. So basically, you can change the underlying hardware technology without affecting your configurations, management, and all those things. Okay, we will not go deeper. Okay, another easy question for you to answer. What will you do in the below situation? If you are settled in a city with an owned house and you have some extended family members coming for some time, but don't know how long they will be staying with you, what will you do? Okay, yeah, Sam has mentioned rent a new house for them. Yeah, rent some space for them. Yeah, all of you have mentioned correctly, and that is nothing but hybrid cloud. In hybrid cloud, you'll have both private cloud and public cloud. So renting a house along with the existing house is the most logical answer. So basically, you guys know everything or most of the things. So this is just a refresher, right? And what is a hybrid cloud? A combination of a public and a private cloud. Part of services may run on private cloud and part in a public cloud. May use to extend private cloud with additional resources or services. Provides maximum flexibility, but at a higher cost than public clouds. So now we have one more small topic to cover, which is cloud abstractions and the shared responsibility model. Actually, two more topics. The one we discussed initially, right? The different benefits of cloud. I'll just show you what is there, and then we will break for today, and then we will continue tomorrow. Cloud abstractions and the shared responsibility model. So we will see a lot of things such as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, and then the shared responsibility model, and then on-premises versus infrastructure as a service versus platform as a service and software as a service. We will also see the newer cloud service models or abstractions, and we will see the other data storage options like file storage, block storage, object storage, relational databases, non-relational databases, and types of non-relational databases. And the benefits of cloud computing like high availability, scalability, and elasticity, vertical versus horizontal scaling, and fault tolerance versus disaster recovery, and differences between the global reach and latency requirements, security, predictive cost, agility, and we will summarize them. And there are some really interesting questions to check your understanding. So there are a lot of questions, but I will ask a few of them now. Which expenditure model is used with pay-as-you-go subscription models? Is it operational, elastic, capital, or scalable? Answer. Okay, so scalability we have not learned. So you can safely assume that it is not the answer for at least for this one. Okay, it is operational. Operational expenditure is the ongoing cost, including annual cost. Capital expenditure is initial investment, such as buying fixed assets. A company can extend a private cloud by adding its own physical servers to the public cloud. True or false? Answer is false. You cannot add anything physical to the public cloud. You have only virtual access. Clear? You may have thought that it is going to be hybrid cloud, but the thing is you don't have any physical access to the public cloud. So you cannot add anything. Clear? Yeah, on-premises would be true, but here it is public cloud. A company can extend a private cloud by adding its own physical servers to the public cloud. Answer is false, and you know the explanation. A company plans to migrate their on-premises servers to the cloud. Which of the following administrative responsibilities would be reduced by this move? Choose two answers. A, B, C, D. You can just mention the two alphabets. You don't have to type the whole thing. Very easy and straightforward questions, right? Even for Azure Fundamentals AZ 900, you will get similar questions. Okay, A and C, anything physical, you don't have to manage. Those who are making wrong choices, don't worry. If you haven't understood why your answer was wrong, just stay back and you can talk to me and ask, okay, why it was wrong, and I will explain more. Okay, so which of these cloud deployment models provide a choice to use on-premises or cloud-based resources? Okay, yeah, everybody are seeing correct answer, hybrid cloud. Okay, yeah, these things scale out, scale up, scaling down, scaling in, horizontal scaling, vertical scaling, all these interesting terms which are very important for your career, you can discuss tomorrow. Okay, we will discuss in detail all these things in detail tomorrow, same time. Okay, and rest of the questions are related to that, so I'm not going to go or show those questions now. So now you know what will be covered tomorrow. We will continue tomorrow, and please feel free to WhatsApp on the given number, and then you can ask for my direct number to that number. Okay, one level of redirection. So there is a question promo code for your book, please. The new book is actually I am writing it, so it has to be first published. The existing book is 2 to 3 years now, but still it is selling well. But again, wait for the new book, or just connect with me over WhatsApp so that you can read the new book for free along with me and give feedback. The only thing is this book is not published, right? You'll have to just sign an NDA that you will not be sharing it with anybody else. If you are part of Bangalore, India, then please do join. We have meetups regularly, and last month I had went to Google Bangalore office for talking about Kubernetes. These are all free meetups sponsored by the companies, including Google. So you can come, you can discuss, you can have snacks, lunch, everything, and then connect with me also. Okay, so that is it. Bye bye for now, and see you all tomorrow. If anybody has any doubts, I am staying back. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, because that will be always helpful when you are searching for jobs or similar things. And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, then do let the CloudRix team know and they will help you out. Okay, so slide. Tomorrow I will share the slide after the session. We have little more slides to cover, right? So if you see the answers, then it will not be good, right? So I have a few more questions, interesting questions based on all these scalability things that we'll be learning tomorrow. So I don't want to share that slide today. Tomorrow I will definitely share after the session. Okay, so it was nice talking to you after a long time. I was not very active because once I became a vice president at Morgan Stanley, which was my last role. So I had a little bit more restrictions. And just in case, if anybody wants to see the physical version of the book or the latest 2 books, you can see it here. So these are the books. You can read about it. Okay, and then if you want to be part of the new book, you can become part of it, right? Because more people read and give perspective, because once the book is published, nobody can give me any feedback, and I cannot update in the book. If I am getting more feedback initially, then definitely I can include those things in the book. And that was the reason why the second book got the award of best 8 the cloud computing book of all time. Lot of people like you gave feedback saying, okay, I did not understand this. Okay, then I will think, okay, then I need to add more explanation, and then I will ask that person, now is it clear? They will say yes. That really helped me a lot in making it a very good book. I'll talk more about study group tomorrow. So we have a very interesting WhatsApp study group. Our Facebook group is free. Our all our chat groups are free. Our WhatsApp study group, it is not free, but you can get it for free if you share knowledge. Okay, so basically the WhatsApp group has some expenses, because in the group you will have 24/7 Zoom meetings. There are multiple Zoom meetings running always. So any member can discuss anything with other member using the Zoom meetings without scheduling. Just click attend. But again, if you share knowledge with the community at least once every month, It doesn't have to be a formal session. You can just talk about your work, because if you talk about your how you work, it might be helpful for others, especially freshers who are new to industry. So if you help others through your sessions, you can get free renewals. Every member has to be contributing in one way, either paying a fee or by sharing knowledge. But again, that is only to be part of the knowledge exchange WhatsApp study group, KEVA groups or C1 groups. But there are other groups which are completely free without any contribution. You can be part of them also. Until we see again, bye bye. Keep safe and let us all learn together and grow together.